Have you ever walked confidently into a room, on a mission, full of purpose, only to stop dead in your tracks, with absolutely no idea why you are there? The thought you had just a moment ago has vanished, leaving you standing in a doorway feeling slightly ridiculous. Or how about that strange fleeting sensation that you have lived this exact moment before, a ripple in time that you cannot quite grasp? Maybe you have stared at a cloud and seen a perfect dragon, or caught a glimpse of a face in the patterns of a wooden door. These moments can feel bizarre, like a little error in your personal software. Today, we are going to dive into 10 of these incredible brain glitches that everyone has experienced. We will uncover why they happen and what they tell us about the secret workings of our own consciousness. Prepare to see your own mind in a whole new light. Fact 1. Let us begin with that classic moment of confusion we mentioned at the start. You are in the living room, and you realize you need something from the bedroom. You get up, walk with intent, cross the threshold of the bedroom door, and then blank. The idea has evaporated completely. You might stand there for a moment, searching your mind for the lost thought, before giving up and walking back to the living room, only for the idea to suddenly pop back into your head. This phenomenon is so common it has a name: the doorway effect. It is a perfect example of how our physical environment influences our memory. Researchers believe this happens because our brains compartmentalize information based on location. They create what are called event models. When you are in the living room, your brain has an active file or model for everything related to the living room, including your intention to go to the bedroom. But when you walk through a doorway, you cross what your brain perceives as an event boundary. It is a signal that a new scene has begun. To prepare for this new scene, your brain conveniently closes and archives the file from the previous location to free up mental resources. Unfortunately, the very thought that prompted your journey was in that file. Your brain essentially archives the thought "what did I come in here for" to make room for the thought "what is happening in this new space." It is a glitch born from extreme organizational efficiency. Fact 2. From one moment of mental mystery to another that feels almost supernatural, let us talk about déjà vu. The term is French for already seen, and it perfectly captures that strange fleeting sensation that you have lived this exact moment before. The conversation, the lighting, the person's gesture, it all feels uncannily familiar, as if you are rewatching a scene from a film you have seen before but cannot remember. While it feels like a glimpse into a past life or a glitch in the simulation, the scientific explanations are just as fascinating, and a lot less paranormal. There are several leading theories. One popular idea is called split perception. It suggests that déjà vu happens when your brain receives information from your senses with a microscopic delay between two separate pathways. For an instant, you perceive something, and then a millisecond later, you perceive it again. That second perception feels like a memory because the first one has already been processed, creating a false sense of familiarity. Another theory points to a tiny misfire in the brain's temporal lobe, specifically in the circuits that handle memory and familiarity. For a brief moment, the part of your brain that says this is familiar activates by mistake, applying that feeling to your current, brand new experience. It is not a memory, but the feeling of a memory being incorrectly stamped onto the present moment. This glitch is most common in young, healthy brains, suggesting it is just a small, harmless hiccup in a complex system. Fact 3. Now, if déjà vu is the feeling of having seen something before, its strange cousin is a glitch known as jamais vu. This translates to never seen, and it is the exact opposite experience. This is when you look at something you know is incredibly familiar, like your own reflection, the face of a loved one, or even a very common word, and for a moment, it feels completely alien and unrecognizable. The most common way people experience this is with words. Have you ever written or typed a simple word over and over again, like the word house, until it suddenly loses all meaning? It just looks like a bizarre collection of shapes and lines. The sound of the word, if you say it out loud, becomes a strange and meaningless noise. This is a textbook case of jamais vu. Scientists have a more technical term for this specific verbal version. They call it semantic satiation. It happens because your brain's neural pathways that are responsible for the meaning of that word get tired. By focusing on it so intensely, you are essentially overstimulating those specific neurons. As a defense mechanism to prevent burnout, the neurons temporarily become less responsive. Your brain hits a refresh button on that concept, and in the process, the meaning drains away, leaving you with a weird, hollowed-out perception of something you know intimately. It is another example of your brain systems for efficiency and self-preservation creating a brief but baffling experience for your conscious mind. Fact 4. From glitches that happen inside your head, let us turn to one that changes how you see the world outside. Have you ever looked up at the clouds and seen a dragon, a ship, or a rabbit? Or noticed that the two dots and a line on an electrical outlet look like a little face expressing shock? Maybe you have seen a face in the wood grain of a door or the textured pattern of a ceiling tile. This tendency to see meaningful patterns, especially faces, in random or ambiguous visual information is called pareidolia. This is not a flaw in your vision, it is a powerful feature of your brain's programming, a feature so strong that it sometimes works overtime. For our distant ancestors surviving in a dangerous world, being able to quickly spot another living being was critically important. A rustle in the grass or a strange shape in the shadows could be a predator or an enemy. The brain evolved to be a hypersensitive face and pattern detection machine. This system is wired to be biased towards finding a pattern, even if it is not really there. Think of it from a survival perspective. Making a mistake and seeing a face in a cloud, a false positive, has zero negative consequences. But making the mistake of not seeing a tiger hiding in the bushes, a false negative, could have very final consequences. Your brain is running on ancient software that says it is better to see 1,000 imaginary faces than to miss one real one. So when you see a cheerful face in your morning coffee foam, you are not being silly, you are experiencing an echo of a deeply ingrained, life-saving survival instinct. Fact 5. Let us move from a timeless, ancient glitch to one that is distinctly modern. It is a sensation almost everyone with a smartphone has felt. You are going about your day when you feel it, that distinct, urgent buzz in your pocket or bag. You reach for your phone, ready to see a new message or a call, only to find that your phone is perfectly still. There was no vibration. No call, no notification, nothing. This is known as phantom vibration syndrome, and it is a fascinating example of how our technology can literally rewire our brain's perceptions. Our brains are incredibly good at learning and forming expectations. Because our phones have become so important to our social lives and daily routines, our brain learns to be highly attentive to their signals. It tunes itself to the specific sensory information of a phone vibrating. This heightened awareness means the threshold for triggering that sensation becomes very, very low. Your brain is on high alert for the buzz. As a result, it starts to misinterpret other, completely unrelated signals. The slight rub of your trousers against your leg, a small muscle twitch, or even the subtle vibrations from a passing vehicle can be mistakenly flagged by your brain as your phone. It is essentially a conditioned, tactile hallucination. Your brain has created a false sensation based purely on anticipation. It is a clear and powerful demonstration of how our habits and our environment can shape our most basic sensory experiences, creating glitches that would have been unimaginable just a few decades ago. Fact 6. Let us delve into a glitch that is purely about the mechanics of your own mind, a moment of profound frustration that everyone knows well. You are in a conversation, trying to recall the name of an actor. You can see their face in your mind's eye. You know what films they were in. You might even know that their name starts with the letter B and has 3 syllables. You can feel the word right there, dancing on the very edge of your consciousness, but you simply cannot speak it. This maddening sensation is called the tip of the tongue phenomenon, or to use its more technical name, lethologica. This is not a failure of memory in the way we usually think of it. The information is not gone, it is stored safely in your brain. The glitch is a failure of retrieval. Think of your memory as a gigantic, sprawling library. You have sent a request for a specific book, the actor's name. The librarian, your brain, knows the book is in the library. It can even tell you which section it is in and what the cover looks like. But for some reason, the exact path to that specific shelf is temporarily blocked. The connection between the semantic information, the meaning and concept of the person, and the phonological information, the sound of their name, has broken down. What makes it even more frustrating are what psychologists call the ugly sisters, the wrong words that keep popping into your head instead. Your brain, in its frantic search, starts pulling out similar sounding or related files, like Bradley or Benedict, making the real name even harder to grasp. This glitch is a fascinating, if annoying, window into the incredibly complex and fragile process of how our brains link concepts to language. Fact 7. From a glitch of retrieval to a glitch of perception, this next one will make you question just how much the universe is trying to send you a message. Imagine you learn a new, somewhat obscure word, like serendipity. Or perhaps you suddenly take an interest in a specific model of a vintage yellow car. All of a sudden, you start hearing the word serendipity everywhere. You see those yellow cars on every street corner. It feels like the world has changed overnight to feature this new thing you just discovered. You might think it is a coincidence or a sign, but what you are experiencing is a powerful cognitive quirk called a frequency illusion, also famously known as the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. This illusion happens in 2 steps. The first is selective attention. Once something new enters your awareness and your brain tags it as relevant, your internal filtering system gets an upgrade. This system, partly managed by a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, is designed to sift through the billions of bits of data you perceive every day and only show you what is important. Before you knew the word or cared about the car, they were just part of the background noise your brain filtered out. Now your brain is actively looking for them, so it starts pointing them out. The second step is confirmation bias. As you start noticing this thing more and more, your brain seeks to confirm its new hypothesis, which is that this thing is suddenly everywhere. Every time you see it, your brain says, "See, I told you so," while conveniently ignoring all the times you do not see it. It is not that there are more yellow cars, it is that your perception of them has been fundamentally altered. It is a brilliant reminder that you do not experience reality directly. You experience the version of reality that your brain decides to show you. Fact 8. Our brains are masters of finding patterns in what we see, but they are just as creative when it comes to what we hear. This leads to a glitch that is a source of endless amusement and arguments. You are singing along to your favorite song, feeling every word, when a friend looks at you with confusion. What you thought was a profound lyric about a lonely baker is actually, according to them, a line about a heartbreaker. You have just experienced a mondegreen. A mondegreen is a mishearing or misinterpretation of a phrase, most commonly a song lyric, because it sounds similar to something else. The term was coined by a writer who, as a child, misheard a line from a Scottish ballad. Instead of hearing the line "and laid him on the green," she heard it as "and Lady Mondegreen." Her brain, faced with an unfamiliar phrase and pronunciation, simply substituted it with a string of words that made more sense to her. This is essentially auditory pareidolia. When our brains are presented with ambiguous audio signals, whether it is a singer's unclear diction, a loud instrument, or a foreign accent, they refuse to accept chaos. The brain's prime directive is to create meaning. It will take the jumbled sounds it receives and perform a rapid subconscious search for the best possible fit from its vocabulary. It will then construct a reality based on that guess. The result is often something that makes a kind of poetic, if incorrect, sense. This is not a sign of bad hearing. It is a testament to the brain's incredible, and sometimes overly imaginative ability to fill in the blanks and create a coherent story out of noisy data. It prioritizes a sensible narrative over literal, perfect accuracy, giving us a personal soundtrack to our lives that might be slightly different from everyone else's. Fact 9. Now let us talk about a glitch that shows just how powerfully our brains can be reshaped by our activities, sometimes to an obsessive degree. Have you ever spent a long afternoon playing a puzzle game like Tetris, or maybe a full day working on a repetitive task, like sorting inventory or organizing files? Later that evening, when you close your eyes to go to sleep, what do you see? You might see the ghostly afterimage of falling blocks, stacking themselves perfectly behind your eyelids. You might find yourself mentally organizing the items in your grocery cart as if they were inventory bins. This phenomenon is called the Tetris effect, and it is a fascinating look at how your brain learns and adapts. When you engage in a new patterned activity for a prolonged period, your brain works hard to build new neural pathways to become more efficient at it. It is trying to automate the process, so it requires less conscious effort. The glitch happens when this learning process becomes so dominant that it starts to spill over into your other thoughts, mental imagery, and even your dreams. Your brain is not trying to annoy you with visions of falling blocks. It is essentially running practice simulations in the background, consolidating its new skill. It has created a new mental model for a task, and for a little while, it tries to apply that model to everything. This can happen with anything, from video games to music to complex programming. It is a sign of your brain's incredible plasticity, its ability to physically remold itself based on your experiences. It is a glitch that is fundamentally a side effect of accelerated learning. Fact 10. Finally, let us turn to a glitch that affects not just how you see the world, but how you believe the world sees you. You are walking into an important meeting when you realize you have a small coffee stain on your shirt. You spend the entire meeting consumed by the thought of it. You are certain everyone is staring at it, judging your lack of professionalism. You feel a burning sense of embarrassment. Or maybe you trip on a flat piece of pavement in a busy square. For the next 10 minutes, you are convinced that every single person saw your clumsy moment and is secretly laughing. This intense feeling of being the center of social attention and scrutiny is called the spotlight effect. The name is perfect. It is the belief that a metaphorical spotlight follows you around, illuminating all of your flaws and mistakes for the world to see. Of course, the reality is very different. Psychological studies have confirmed this time and time again. Researchers have had participants wear an embarrassing t-shirt into a room of their peers. The participants drastically overestimated how many people noticed the shirt. In reality, most people were too absorbed in their own thoughts, their own conversations, and their own metaphorical spotlights to pay any attention. This glitch happens because we are all the center of our own universe. Our entire experience of reality is filtered through our own consciousness. We know about our coffee stain with 100% certainty, so it is hard for our brains to compute that for someone else, that stain is a tiny, insignificant detail in a vast field of sensory information. The spotlight effect is a powerful glitch in our social perception, a side effect of an egocentric perspective that reminds us that while we may feel like we are on stage, most people are not even in the audience. They are busy starring in their own show. If this exploration into the secret workings of your own mind sparked your curiosity, and you want to discover more about the incredible world of psychology and neuroscience, then make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like if you have ever experienced one of these glitches yourself. It helps our channel reach more curious minds just like you. And do not forget to click the notification bell so you will not miss our next journey into the mysteries of the human experience.